Hello. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the Nautilus. So if you're ready to get started, let's get to the video. The Nautilus is a marine mollusk and a distant relative of cephalopods like squid, cuttlefish, and octopus. All 6 living species of Nautilus belong to the same family, Nautilidae. 4 species belong to the type genera, Nautilus, while the other 2 belong to the genera Allonautilus. The word Nautilus derives from the ancient Greek word nautilos or sailor. The best-known Nautilus species, the chambered Nautilus, also goes by the name the Pearly Nautilus. It gets its name from both its iridescent appearance and the multiple chambers that it uses to adjust its buoyancy. Its scientific name is Numa Pompilius, after Numa Pompilius, the second king of Rome. Nautiluses are a living link to the ancient past. They've been around over 480 million years, cruising deep ocean reefs even before the time of dinosaurs. These soft-bodied creatures live inside an intricately chambered shell. A nautilus can only sense dark and light with its simple, pinhole-type eyes. But a nautilus can perceive water depth and current directions, as well as current speeds, to help it keep its body upright. A highly developed sense of smell helps a nautilus search for food and find mates. The various species of chambered nautilus live in the tropical waters of the Indo-Pacific Ocean. They can be found on coral reefs and atolls, from India in the west to China in the north, Fiji in the east, and Australia in the south. Nautiluses live at depths of about 160 to 1,970 feet, 50 to 600 meters. Nautilus measure 20 to 25 centimeters in average. Its shell is white to orange with brown zebra stripes. Internal side of the shell is pearly white. The shell color keeps the animal hidden in the water. When seen from the top, the shell is darker in color and marked with irregular stripes, which makes it blend into the darkness of the water below. The underside is almost completely white, making the animal indistinguishable from brighter waters near the ocean surface. This mode of camouflage is called countershading. The animal can withdraw completely into its shell. It can then close the opening with a leathery hood formed from 2 specially folded tentacles. The shell is coiled and calcareous, with mother-of-pearl lining. It is pressure-resistant, but will implode at a depth of about 800 m. The Nautilus shell is made of 2 layers. The outer layer is a dull white, while the inner layer is a striking white with iridescence. The innermost portion of the shell is pearlescent, blue-gray. Squids and octopuses don't usually live long lives. In fact, most die after just 2 to 3 years. By comparison, nautiluses look like Methuselah. 17-year-old specimens have been caught, and biologists theorize that some can surpass 20 years old. Chambered nautilus have 60 to 90 arms of differing lengths, situated outside the shell to catch and manipulate their prey. These short, clustered limbs help ensnare the fish, crabs, and carrion upon which the cephalopods dine. Speaking of mealtime, hungry nautiluses use scent to track down food because they can't see very well. Their eyes lack lenses. So their eyes are more akin to pinhole cameras, which, according to the book Animal Eyes, forces them to choose between unusably dim or unusably blurred. A nautilus uses its tentacles to search for food. It eats fish, crustaceans, worms, and other marine invertebrates. A nautilus has a strong sense of smell and can detect food from as far away as 33 feet, 10 meters. Nautiluses are also scavengers, meaning they eat dead animals. Nautiluses move backwards and make turns by shooting jets of water out of their bodies. The nautilus is the only cephalopod with an external shell. Much like zebras, nautiluses can be individually identified based on their striped shell patterns. Their stripes are fixed, but they stretch out as they grow. In young animals, the shells are striped all over. Nautilus spends their day at depths and moves toward the shallow water to hunt when the sun goes down. Nautiluses mate only once a year. 75% of nautilus caught to be studied are male and only 25% are females. Researchers don't really know why. Nautilus moves by jet propulsion by blowing out water through a siphon. Position of the siphon decides the direction of the nautilus, front, back, upward or descending. A couple of nautiluses may have sex for up to 30 hours at a time. During intercourse, males often bite females on the mantle, which will leave a mark on his partner's shell. Some male nautiluses attempt to mate with any object that seems to have similar shape and size as an other nautilus, and this without making any difference between male or female. Although nautiluses can live for up to 20 years, they typically don't reach sexual maturity until around 10 or 15 years old. The reproduction of nautiluses in the wild is not well understood. Through observations of captive nautiluses, it is thought they reproduce many times during their lifetime. Females may lay 10 to 20 eggs per year. The eggs hatch after about 10 to 12 months. Most cephalopod eggs are incredibly small. Those laid by the 50-pound giant Pacific octopus, for example, are about as big as a grain of rice. Around an inch long, chambered nautilus eggs dwarf the competition. Using her tentacles, a female will, presumably, affix the eggs to a hard surface, where they'll hatch between 9 and 12 months later. A newly hatched nautilus wears a shell divided into 3 or 4 small chambers. As a nautilus grows, it gains more living space by building new chambers connected to the old ones. Adult shells have 30 chambers. The chambers are connected by a tube called a siphuncle that alters the amount air in each chamber, which in turn changes the animal's buoyancy. Also, they can propel themselves backward by expelling seawater from the chambers through the tube. If that wasn't enough, they can completely withdraw into the shell if threatened by a predator. Talk about a well-designed home. Nautilus has a beak which cuts their food, crabs, shrimps, and fish, just like other members of the octopus family. But unlike other members of the family, Nautilus has poor visual perception. Eyes can only recognize light from dull. Their smell is overdeveloped and used for hunting their prey. The Nautilus relies on jet propulsion to move through the water. It sucks water into a siphon right below its eyes and then expels the water in a stream, pushing itself forward in a straight line away from the direction its siphon faces. To aid itself in traversing the ocean depths, the Nautilus adjusts its buoyancy by controlling the amount of water it lets into the chambers located in its shell. Using osmosing, it can add water, causing it to sink, or expel water, which causes it to rise gradually toward the surface. Compared to other cephalopods, the Nautilus displays a relatively low level of intelligence. Its brain is rather simple, and although it does not lack intelligence, its memory skills are extremely limited. While it displays some level of short and long-term memory in response to external conditioning, the Nautilus quickly forgets information after just a few hours that more advanced cephalopods can remember for several weeks. The muscles of the funnel contract to cause Numa Pompilius to swim. They steer mostly by sensing obstacles with their tentacles or lightly bumping into them before changing course. When not swimming, it uses tentacles to pull itself along rocks. This species is nocturnal. Although nautiluses have been around for hundreds of millions of years, they face many threats today. Overfishing is decreasing population numbers, as jewelers and collectors are willing to pay good money for their unique shells. They are particularly impacted by overfishing because they are slow-growing, take a long time to reach sexual maturity and only lay a few eggs a year. From 2005 to 2008 alone, the United States imported over 500,000 nautilus shells, and scientists worry that our desire for the nautilus could be driving the animal towards extinction. The best way you can help the nautilus is by not buying products made from their shells. Instead, you can celebrate them by learning more about this strange and fantastic cephalopod. But now, if you don't want to miss something, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.